So yeah, today we have Owen Bolig. We got this right this time. We got it right.
Yeah, you got it
Perfect.
right.
Okay. Or Bolig, I guess, is sometimes how people will know you on Pianobook. Now you were the samplist of the month in September. Where tell us, where are you based?
So I am in Nashville, Tennessee. I've been here for about 6 years. I came out here to get my master's in audio engineering. That was the whole point of me coming to Nashville.
Wow. So just a bit of musical influence around you, I would say. So tell us, what's a bit about your background and, what got you into this pathway of making all these amazing virtual instruments that you've been making for Pianobook.
So what I started with was just playing guitar when I was younger, and then I think I said in the Weeds video, I said that I did like the responsible thing and went to college for engineering instead, and I enjoyed it, but I only worked as a mechanical engineer for like a few months, and then I just switched to being an intern at a music studio. Went from there to Nashville to go to school to get my audio engineering degree. Did some software after that because I had a professor that I really connected with, Eric Tarr. He helped me get a job in software where I did contact instruments. And then from there, I've kind of done independent work and gotten really involved with Pianobook, focusing mostly on collaborative work.
But I think we probably first saw you with your bebop library,
Mhm.
which I think it's one of our smallest libraries. Is it something like 15 megabytes or something like that? So
Yeah.
that must have taken some serious contact scripting. I mean, all the UI and the playback engine and everything, and then getting all of those amazing, inspiring sounds out of 15 megabytes. Talk to us a bit about that.
Yeah, so Beat Boop was just to get the attention of the website, of everyone on the website, because I saw what everyone else was doing and they were leaning into their strengths, getting really clear recordings. I couldn't really compete with it, so I tried to lean into my strengths and make something completely different to gain the attention of the community.
I think you got the original sample pack of 2021 for that one as well. So yeah,
Yes.
congrats. I mean, definitely, we had so much fun in the Piano Book team. As soon as that came out, I was like, "What is this? It's insane!" And then you looked at it, it's like there's only like 7 or 8 samples in it. It's just amazing stuff.
Mhm.
And you've also contributed to some other really, I mean, cool packs. There's the dice game. Now that one's done very well. I think I looked today. It's in the top 5 most playable, the top 5 inspiration, and the top 10 most character on Piano Book. So that's doing pretty well. I mean, how did that one come about?
Honestly, I just thought the concept was ridiculous and I thought it was funny. It was more so of a joke instrument. And I did not know until after releasing it that Yahtzee is mostly an American game, and the vast majority of people don't know how to play the game Yahtzee. So it wasn't really the smartest decision for me to make a instrument surrounded around a game that people don't know the rules of. But the people that do know the rules think it's a cool instrument and get the humor behind it.
So dice game was February, and then in May 2020 you released In the Weeds. Talk a bit about that one.
So In the Weeds was for Global Swarm. So I put a lot of effort into the video and I wanted to be more relatable to the audience. A lot of people on Pianobook aren't able to pursue it full time. A lot of us we have a day job that support us financially. Um, but in our spare time, we're doing what we love. So I thought that I could kind of strike a chord with that sentiment of there are so many talented people out there that just don't have the ability to put as much time as they want towards that passion.
So you've got another sample pack that's just released in October. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Your libraries are a good reason for someone just to pay for the full version of Contact alone because they just are so much fun. They really make the most of that engine. But what's your thoughts on sort of Contact versus, say, something like Decent Sampler?
I have actually done a decent sampler instrument. I specifically chose to do Decent Sampler because it helped with what the client was asking for. So he had a Patreon and he wanted to give a sample library to all of his supporters, but of course, not all of them have contact. So we made a point to design it for Decent Sampler so that 100% of the people in his community that have supported him were able to use the product. And that, I mean, that on its own is incredible about Decent Sampler. I mean, I'm a big fan of Dave. He delivers everything in such a unique and captivating way. Um, yeah,
He's an
yeah,
awesome guy.
I do love what he's doing with Decent Sampler.
I'm also a bit of a programmer, so I knew how to translate what it says on the Bebop page on Pianobook because it's all in binary. And
Mhm.
so I'm not going to say exactly what it says on there on the binary. Someone else can go and find that out. But it does mention collaboration. And you've collaborated with lots of people on Pianobook. You've got Andrea Giordani, Angus. You've got Darren King, I think, Frederick Poirier, Heidi Peters, Hunter Rogerson. Am I getting them all? Sage Reynolds and Sam Ekoff. I think I got your,
Yeah.
within the Pianobook team, we really wanted to create this collaborations feature because of you. When you've been doing all these collaborations, we wanted to show all this stuff off. So it's really great now you can go onto people's profiles and see who they've collaborated with. But do you want to talk about some of those collaborations as well?
Yeah, but I will first thank Pete for doing that. Like, I don't think I'd be nearly as successful if it weren't for that collaboration feature, especially Portals. Portals would not be successful without that feature that Pete put in. So a huge thank you to him.
For everyone who doesn't know, Pete is the main web developer behind Pianobook. So top man.
Yeah, so my main focus is collaboration. My first collaborator was Sam Ekoff. He looked at Beep Boop and figured out what the binary code meant. And that was before Discord. So we connected before Pianobook had the Discord. I've been lucky to work with Hunter. I've been lucky to work with Sage. I've been lucky. I mean, Andrea, we've been talking a lot lately. She's absolutely wonderful. I know you're a good friend of hers as
Yeah.
well. Yeah, I'm also working on something with Tim Stevenson right now. Tim Stevenson made a template that helps people that are not as like contact script savvy make contact instruments. And I admire that a lot. So I wanted to like help him make a version 2 of that, which should be coming out soon.
And you were a big part of the Global Swarm as well. So talk about that experience because that was pretty insane. All those different things coming in from all those collaborators. Talk a bit how you got involved and what it was like working on that project.
So Fred made the Decent Sampler version, and I made the Contact version. And Angus took all the samples that were processed on the other threads. I don't know how that process went. He loaded them into the Contact NKI, and then I did all the scripting and collaborated with Hunter, who did all of the graphics. And thanks to Pete, you can go on the Global Swarm page and see how each individual was involved in that project.
So what tips do you have on collaborating with others? How do you find your collaborations? How do you work together? Any tips on that?
You don't necessarily just reach out to people being like, you want to collaborate, here, check out this demo I made, like check this out, because a lot of people are being bombarded by that. So instead, do something like I did with Andrea. Andrea left a review on Dice Game and she really liked it. I then reached out to her on Discord and grew a friendship with her. And that's how we started to collaborate. So instead of just reaching out to the people that you really want to work with, that don't know anything about you, reach out to the people that are interested in the stuff that you've already put out there. Bon Iver is like one of maybe my favorite artists. 22 a Million. It is my favorite album, but I'm not going to reach out to him. He seems so talented, but through a community like Pianobook, you learn that there are many, many talented people out there. Hunter is mind blowing how talented he is. Sage, he recently posted something for Beattober that is just a single note. And I was laughing about how impressed I was by this like single note that he produced. I mean, there are just so many non-famous people that have so much talent.
Actually, so whilst we're talking about Hunter, I mean, that was another, you've helped out. He's just had his recent release as well. So do you want to talk about some of the work you did with him on that? Because I think you were involved as well. And it's such an amazing release.
Yeah, I want to focus a lot on Hearth and Hollow. I have a lot of flaws as a server, one of which is when we have a special and the chef wants me to promote it and I try it and I don't like it. I'm not very good at selling that product. It is so easy to promote Hearth and Hollow. Not only is Hearth and Hollow so good, but the person that made it, I got the honor to talk to him like every day through the 3 months of development. He's so nice and so funny. He sends me SpongeBob memes all the time. And I'm not as good as everyone else on Pianobook with composition. It wasn't until like Hunter made his demos at the end that I realized like how incredible that instrument is. And Hearth and Hollow will add this unique characteristic that will make your mix stand out.
So we've got one more thing we want to talk about today, which is Portals, which has just come out in October. So do you want to tell us a little bit about it? Then maybe we'll have a little playthrough.
I try to think of like, how am I going to get attention? And I did it through a few ways. And the main one is reaching out to the friends that I've made on Pianobook, Sam, Sage, and Hunter, and have them make samples, have them beta test it. But it's really customizable. And I did that so that I could bring in samples from my friends and customize the engine to suit the samples that they handed over to me. Not just the Samplist should be focused on. Also, people like Simeon, who reviews instruments, and also Alex, who has reviewed every instrument, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
They should be focused on, and also the demoist, like Andrea, like Ryan, like Harriet. Harriet just sent me a demo of Portals that blew my mind. So I wanted to do Portals in a way that promoted multiple parties in the community, especially to celebrate what Pete has done with the collaboration feature.
So we're going to have a little playthrough, and you can just tell me a little bit about the instrument. So we've got a few different versions. There's lots of different nice, beautiful colors. We're going to start with Sage's instrument to start off with. So I'm just going to sort of play the keys and see what happens. Tell me, what's going on here? We've got some pretty interesting graphics, but what's going on here?
The center control is a macro control. It is actually controlling 11 different parameters. But you'll see if you hit the cog wheel at the bottom right, a macro knob is one knob that is changing many others. Presets are just many different knobs in a certain position. So you can combine these two ideas. And that's what I'm doing in this. On the left side of that center control, it says low and out below it. And there's a drop-down menu. And all of those are presets. And you can choose those presets on the minimum value of the macro control. And then you can choose a different preset for the maximum of the macro knob. What you're doing is you are choosing not just one preset, but two presets, and you have the ability to blend between those presets. Yeah, and I really like random LFOs. So I put in a smooth random LFO, which you can activate with the little wave symbol, and it will just move that randomly.
So let's try another one of the presets here. So here's Hunters, the Violet Atmosphere. Shall we let's give that one a little listen. So what we've got going on here, what's the sort of different sound sources that Hunter was using?
So Hunter, I don't know how he did it. He figured out how to convert pictures into audio. So he took a picture of his grandmother and, I don't know, analyzed the pixels and converted it into audio. I don't know how he did it.
Oh, Scarlet Synth. This one I had a little play with earlier and really enjoyed this one. So let's have a little play up here, shall we?
Yeah, so I think this is the most usable one. I don't know. I don't know if that's per se the best way to say it, but it's the most melodic one. I would use this as like the base of a track. And Sam sampled his ARP 2600 to get these samples for this one.
So we've got a synth room here, which is a nice, really nice. But I also noticed a bit of black hole, which I do have to just give that a crank up. That just sounds immense. And there's one more extra preset, isn't there? An extra NKI, which isn't on Pianobook. You have to leave a review. So what's this? Is Ivory Wavetable. Let me just play it a little bit for a second.
I knew that I wanted to make one instrument or one NKI that was like a secret one for people that just did reviews. Originally, it was going to be Hunter's, and then he sent me his, and it was so good that I couldn't do that to him. So, but I can do it to myself. So this is the one I made. I actually just used the same sample that's used with Dice Game. So yeah, it's just a wavetable, very simple one. The macro knob is connected to things like position and form, of course, because that's like the main thing with wavetables. And I will say, like all of these, the macro knob does something completely different for all four NKIs. And I've made 8 presets for each of the NKIs. So it's not like you're getting, like if you look at the drop-down menu for this one, all of the presets are completely different from all the other ones.
Yeah, congratulations. I think actually this one is currently, as of today, the highest overall rating. If you take the overall rating, which is the kind of combo of, all the different factors, it's got 5 stars across the board. So definitely make sure you leave a review. Big thumbs up. And of course, you can get a copy of this Ivory Wavetable extra add-on if you do so. We'll put links below for all of these libraries, for Portals, for Half and Hollow, and everything else. We'll obviously put your main profile so people can go and check out all the things you've been doing. It's been an absolute pleasure speaking to you, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
Thank you, Stephen.